Record.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Hi everybody. Today with me is my guest and friend Lada Leon from Sovereign Keys, and we are going to be discussing the Annihilation, the movie from the series Tales from the Script Keepers. And we've got a lot of things that's chock and block in this discussion. We're going to be shooting from the hip, and we're going to be discussing the hyper-reality that we're currently experiencing. And for those of you who do not know Lauda Leon or Sovereign Keys, Lauda Leon's focus is aiding the process of our spiritual integration, examining the complex dynamics of psychology, emotions, mind, body, and spirit towards increased comprehension of our current paradigm upon all its levels and layers. Lauda is an experiencer of many forms of anomalous operations and interference, having entered as an incarnate with rebirth consciousness memories, including future timelines and advanced knowledge of events to come. She has lived in between worlds with comprehensions of the nature of this cosmic battle, which we are currently in, piercing through the veil of our worldly paradigm. So, and as a result of such experiences, she has accessed keys relating to the game being played within this reality and applies those keys towards further unveiling into personal sovereignty upon these metaphysical quantum levels and layers in perpetual unfolding. And so, with this amazing background of your experience, it's a wonderful opportunity to have you here with me, Lada. And we're gonna definitely discuss a lot of things.
Yep, we're gonna go down the rabbit hole. It's great to be here, and thank you.
Thank you. So the movie that we decided to review was kind of like an inspirational process where I thought, Annihilation in itself, given the time that it was made in 2018, I think that's also a big telling thing as well. If we needed to understand, for those who have not watched the movie, I'm sorry, we're going to be spoiling the plot for you. So sorry for you. Please stop the movie then and watch something else. But I will give you some background to what we're looking at, the plot summary. So we will be reviewing the movie Annihilation as part of the Script Keeper series as the first one of many, and deconstruct it and look for some obvious links and associations with regards to the demiurge and in nature about the system overlay. And that's what we would call the system overlay, of course, and what the movie's predictive programming was all about. And also that it's a message that was given from the original author, Jeff van der Meer, which has also got a little bit of a side story to him. And van der Meer was on a hike through St. Mark's National Wildlife Refuge, apparently, where he actually fell asleep. This is what he said, quote unquote, that he has also had dreams that inspired while he was in the park about these elements and started to write about the tower from the Annihilation itself. Moreover, van der Meer has cited a number of books as having an influence on Southern Reach, which is connected to Area X, such as The Other Side of the Mountain by Michael Bernanos. That is an actual place that really exists, supposedly. Yeah. Do I need to read the entire plot summary? It's quite a long.
Well, I think it would help people. But what I want to say is that I just want to highlight that in the title of Annihilation, you have ion, and you've got the aeons.
Yes. Right? Yes.
The principalities, the aeons of the demiurge of.
That's pretty good. That's good spotting there. That's good train spotting.
But yeah, I think reading the plot for people would be really good.
All right. Okay, I'll do that. Something about the word Annie. Do you remember Annie Skywalker? Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Also made me think of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyway, okay, that was a bit lame, but anyway. Okay, so the plot, for those who don't know about the movie Annihilation, I'll read it for you here. Annihilation is a 2018 science fiction psychological horror film written and directed by Alex Garland, based on the 2014 novel of the same name by Jeff Vandermeer. It stars Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Rodriguez, etc., etc. Lots of many other names. The story follows a group of explorers who enter the Shimmer, a mysterious quarantined zone of mutation or mutating plants and animals caused by an alien presence. Annihilation was released theatrically in the United States by Paramount Pictures on February 23rd, 2018, and in China, and get the date, April 13, 2018. It was released digitally by Netflix in a number of other countries on March 12, 2018. And I've put a link for everyone to look at underneath this video. And it starts by the main progenitor, the leading person. Lena, a biology professor and army veteran, loses her husband, Kane, after he is deployed on a special forces mission. I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? She believes Kane accepted a suicide mission because she cheated on him. Kane suddenly reappears at home, then starts convulsing. Lena calls an ambulance, but government forces diverted to a secret facility. A psychologist named Dr. Ventress tells her a mysterious zone called the Shimmer has been expanding from a fallen meteor for 3 years. Kane's team explored the Shimmer, but only he returned in a comatose state. She wants Lena to join a new expedition to the lighthouse where the meteor landed. Lena joins to find answers for Kane's coma. Ventress also recruits the physicist Josie Radic, the geomorphologist Cassie or Cass, and the paramedic Anya Thorensen. Notice the Norse surname there. After entering the Shimmer, the group wakes up and realizes they already traveled several days but have no memory of the journey. All wildlife in the Shimmer has mutated. An alligator with shark teeth attacks Josie, but the group saves her. And so basically it just keeps going on and on and on, where they are fighting a lot of things. There's a giant mutated bear that arrives. The survivors discover plants shaped like humans. It's very important, this part, leading Josie to theorize that the Shimmer distorts information like a prism refracts light. Intermixing the wildlife DNA, and Anya realizes they are also mutating and ties up the others in a panic. And so it goes on and on and on. I will leave that there. At the end, the last part, which I want to just give in, is at the facility, Lena tells an interrogator that the Shimmer did not seek to destroy, but to make something new. That's also important. She asks Kane, who is now awake, if he is really Kane, and he replies, "I don't think so." He asks if she is really Lena, and she says she gives no answer. They embrace, and their irises start to shimmer. And so something interesting, which I thought was important to add in before we actually go to the meat of the subject, was that Paramount Pictures' Scott Rudin acquired rights to the novel Annihilation. Scott Rudin, with the help of Paramount Pictures, bought the film rights to the movie Annihilation and then proceeded to unpublish the first novel in the Vandermeer's trilogy series, Southern Reach Trilogy, on March 26, 2016. How's that?
Well, okay, unpublish?
Unpublish his novels. Unpublish it. There's Scott Rudin. And basically, yeah, he also had some stuff that happened to him, which I won't be mentioning now, but the links will be available. And something about Paramount as well for us to look at, who Paramount really is, you know. I mean, that as if that doesn't say it already.
Who do you think they are?
Who do I think they are? They're just another body of companies, conglomerate of companies that are essentially using a lot of the scripting to help create the hyperreality. Who they actually are, I've got a few ideas, but I'm not really sure on them. Who do you think they are?
Okay, so that's Mount Hermon. Okay, and that's the location where the fallen angelics went.
Okay.
They landed. The stars that are around it represent the fallen angelics.
Okay, that's interesting. How many stars are there?
I did count them before, and then like I researched this, and this 1, 2, 3, was it 27? 1, 2,
3. 24.
2.
I don't count so well.
Or 22. But anyway,
it doesn't matter really. The number is
it's a representative of the fallen angelics, right? Which you could say are the Nephilim.
I can see that. I can go with that. Yeah.
So this is
I never knew. You see, I would assume that if you've lived there, you'd know the mountain. I would not know. So that is why that's interesting information. So then it explains a lot about everything.
Right.
So these guys have then it explains the following thing here, which is pretty interesting as well. The Paramount Globe's chief financial officer, Naveen Chopra, but it's not so much who they are, it's what they represent. They represent the capital markets, global technology, internet, media, and telecommunications. That's what they represent. I mean, this is a movie company, right? That's in charge of all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so with can you go up above just for a minute, just to go up above that?
Sorry. You want to check the mountain again?
No, up above that.
Oh, you want to see him?
Him.
Okay.
Okay. So was that did all his problems come after the movie?
Yeah. That is what it appears to be like. I mean, that's when it started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's when it started.
Yeah.
It was actually when he bought the rights. That's when it started. Because since then he had all of these things sanctioned against him. I mean, he was apparently reported that he was abusive to his employees, with being violent against these people, and on numerous occasions. So he has a temper problem, a very big temper problem.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. Whereas it's funny, the first thing I thought when I looked at this guy, Scott, and I looked at, I'll just scroll down now, high quality media and entertainment. This is the original author, Jeff van der Meer, that there's this like strange sort of like, I wouldn't say, I mean, I did think initially they almost looked alike, but now that I see, they do a little and they don't. So it's quite bizarre.
Yes.
Again. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just maybe the features.
Yeah, well, I don't think they look alike, but
there's some sort of similarity with them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the first book, the book that basically had all 3 books.
Yeah.
There they are, and it's Annihilation, Acceptance, Authority, in that order.
Right.
Acceptance and Authority. And you see the images of that are on there as well. First the plant kingdom, then the air. So it's air, it's earth, air, and that would be the icon for rabbit hole.
Right. Yeah. The nature of this reality is often represented as a rabbit, as well as the how reality here manifests itself, and definitely it's down a very large rabbit hole.
Yeah, it definitely reminds me of the rabbit. The rabbit is obviously very iconically used in, like what you just said there. Alice in Wonderland, obviously that's a big thing about the rabbit as well.
Yeah.
Uh, but in any case, what did you find? I mean, I made a few notes of what I found from the movie. All I could see is just the massive amounts of information that's in there that, I mean, for that time of when the guy wrote it in 2014, and I compared the notes with the book, with the books, all three books. I mean, they're like very thin little books. They're like 150 pages each. And the book had a very strange, I would not have said, I did not pick up that it was done under any sort of influences at all. I actually felt like he was having some sort of
download.
Yeah, I would say a download, because this shimmer, this oil on the water type thing is quite prevalent these days. I mean, you can see it in the sky, and I've got some sample images of that to actually show you that I've found.
Well, everything reflects off of the plasma, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the nature of reality is not fixed. Yeah. So,
yes,
you know, this is like a play on the various dimensional interfacing, because reality is not fixed.
Yeah, absolutely. And because there's life within this reality, it obviously emits light, so it causes the anomalous imaging of it to take place, very similar to hyperdimensionality.
Yeah.
Jean Baudrillard, you've heard of Jean Baudrillard. I mean, I think he wrote the book Simulacrum.
Yes.
And it was originally written like that before they've changed it to suddenly to simulation, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
I do remember. I don't know about you. Do you remember that it was simulacrum?
Oh, yeah, simulacrum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so based on that, I've basically given a quote here on what is hyperreality, because that is something that needs to be understood, I think, by the audience and those who are watching.
Yeah.
Hyperreality is described by Jean Baudrillard. The concept of hyperreality captures the inability to disguise the real from the signifier of it, like the demiurge projection. This is more prominent in technologically advanced societies. Hyperreality is seen as a condition in which what is real and what is fiction are seamlessly blending together, so that there is no clear distinction between where one ends and where the other end begins. And so it allows the merging of physical reality and original creation with virtual reality or augmented reality, or demiurgic, as I've put in brackets, false or system overlay, and human intelligence with artificial intelligence, like you've just explained. Dimensional. Yeah.
And the dimensions, like I say, interface with us. So because the nature of reality isn't fixed, we can easily experience a multifaceted dimensional experience where different forms of existence merge with ours. And that, I mean, essentially the portal opens, right? You walk through, you don't notice it's the portal and you're just somewhere else. It's all fluid, right?
Yeah. You did when you watched it, you did watch it again, hey?
No, I didn't. I watched it a while ago.
Crazy at the beginning though.
Yeah, but it stuck in my head because it was so loaded. Yeah,
very much so. I watched it again because I wanted to get some images and things, because I only remembered this mostly, and everything else in between. But here's what brings what you mentioned about the Nefilim, and the mountain as well. It sort of ties into this image.
And
this is the beginning part of the movie. I've taken a screenshot of the beginning. There's a and then it comes and it hits the tower.
And that is, again, the fallen angelics, which in Paramount, the stars, each star represents fallen angelics that turned into the Nephilim, the Watchers.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And
exactly.
And they fell to earth. So you often see so many reveals from Paramount when they do these movies, because that's really what they're saying right here, right? That's a part of the demiurgic aeons that, crash into the earth, so to speak.
And interesting that it actually hits the lighthouse, which is obviously an archetype for wisdom keepers, wisdom, in the inner light, inner insight, very much so. And there's this dark skies around it. So at the time of consciousness where it's dark, that is when these things start to manifest themselves, I would assume.
And we are the lighthouse. So the lighthouse represents what is within us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same as that. And if it's not looked after, if you've not looked after your gift within yourself, then you very much, let's say, as representing the lighthouse, consciousness could then also become something like what was in the movie, what was it? Lord of the Rings, where Sauron, there's this tower that becomes a Sauron's eye, whatever. It's like an iconic thing.
And of course, this hits the lighthouse, so it's hitting us. It's hitting our light.
Yeah, it's actually it does, because it's as it hits it, they show this weird overlay of, I don't know what this is that hits it, but it hits it at its foundation. And then there's the next scene of it again. So to me it was like a tower moment, like I wrote there from the from tarot as well. That's when normally
and what you said, when it hit the foundation, it's hitting the root of our being. Right. Which, and this is how we relate to reality, everything. It's the very root of us. So it didn't hit in a place that, above the root, if you will. It hit exactly at the very core of our being.
Yes, which then, as we know, the current situation of the last few years is very much a focus on the root of the the human genome. Can I say that?
The divine, yes, the divine genome.
Yes. That's when it's being altered. This is what I assume.
And then you see this. Now you're starting to see the relationship of these other dimensional realities hitting and manifesting inside the dimension of the lighthouse, inside that level of reality. So now you're starting to see the emergence and the merging together of these other realities.
And then they try to portray they basically are utilizing the focus from the consciousness that's happening to them, and they are basically absorbing that energy, and then they are projecting it. It's very, very interesting. They're projecting it then into a false overlay, or a type of overlay over that specific aspect. That is definitely very interesting.
Which is the nature of this reality, right? Because the overlays hide whatever really is there, because now what you're getting is just as when you walk through a portal and you're somewhere else, you're now not even aware that your projections and the mirroring, projecting reality is creating all of these subconscious creations, right? So it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? This thing hits, all these dimensions start appearing, and your relationship with that dynamic is now causing a cause and effect to create other realities, because it's mimicking. And this reality, this simulacrum, mimics.
Yes.
Because it is a counterfeit, and it's all based on creating, you know, reflections and copies and mirrors and projections.
Absolutely. And then because it's so fractured, obviously the fractals of these reflections is systematically showing itself or revealing itself in the society through whatever they are, wokeers, liberal, all that stuff, those things. You know, you're not you anymore, you're they and them and whatever else, those things. So it literally fractures the light breaks in like a million of pieces. That's basically what it is.
Exactly.
So literally you're getting people that are basically experiencing this type of
fractal reality.
Yes. And their behavior their behavior is very much reflecting that. Their relationships and everything reflects that sort of behavior.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. It does make sense. Now, this is also the next scene where obviously she sees him again. This is Cain, and they are now. This is the first time he's come back from Shimmer Area X. Obviously, the crossing out. Cain. Wasn't Cain lost in the biblical scriptures? Wasn't Cain chased out or sent away? Cain and Abel after he killed Abel.
After he killed Abel. He was
so Cain
marked and then right.
Yeah. So then it is very interesting, because this kind of makes me think that so what's come back, you know, type of thing. When Cain did eventually come back, I mean, remember Noah's Ark story as well. It's also very strongly referred to as his sons. I'm jumping around here with the sons as well. Was it? I'll have to find it later. I'll have to put it in when I find it. I can't remember. One of the sons was chased away. Was it? I can't remember.
What, from Cain and Abel?
Yeah, isn't Cain family of Noah? Cain and Abel, aren't they family of
yes,
Noah?
Yes, yeah. So, and after the murder, he was exiled. Yes, and marked.
Okay, that's it. Which would actually, if we had finished this, we would should actually be looking at the Cain at the Noah's movie, because this is kind of making a story here.
That well, it's not a coincidence that they named him Cain.
Yes, obviously. And this is just in case no one knew that he was a soldier. And there is the place where Fentress was obviously talking to them. This is the Area X, or that place that's called the Southern Reach facility.
Sudden Reach.
It's like how's that for the root chakra being reached into? This is all about the hypersexualizing or hyper reality based on what's physically rooting into the base chakra, which makes you start to question your origin, which is exactly what you've mentioned with regards to the lighthouse, the base.
Well, yeah, and you question what is the nature of reality. What is reality? Like, are you real? Is this real? You start not knowing the difference, right? Because there is nothing fixed.
Yeah. And so basically, as we lead to this, now it's even more, there's this weird I don't know if you've noticed this weird magenta that's
everywhere.
been freaking plastered everywhere. It's annoying. It's very annoying.
I think it's like the AI version to overlay the original divine frequencies. So these artificial colors are the AI version to counterfeit it, to replace it in reality.
That makes sense.
And thus it would also impact your DNA, because now your DNA is registering the synthetic AI counterfeit version of the original divine version. So because we're all made of frequency, they know that this will impact how we relate to reality on a genetic level, even.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, everything. An atom is and a particle, it's all frequency. So if they create a counterfeit version to overlay the original divine, then now you're sort of plugged into the machine, if you will, in a different way. And your whole frequency and your being and your atoms are going to be registering this frequency, not the divine one. And that's why they're plastering it everywhere.
Yeah, with the green as well.
And the blue.
Yes, and the blue. Blue is now starting up again. Starting up now. It's a type of, I don't know, I can't really make up what type of blue it is. It's I don't know, it's like an aquatic, aqua type of color blue. Which makes me think of Aquarius, that they're trying to, spin on Aquarius, the age. Very much makes sense with what you're saying there about the color as as like a key. It's like a different, it's like a type of key.
It's a counterfeit key that, because if you didn't have these counterfeit keys or frequencies, then you as a divine being are registering what are actually the divine frequencies and colors associated with that. But now you're plugged into this, and it's a form of artificial intelligence that is like encasing everything. So, you're sort of inside, one of those little globe balls that you have, so to speak, right? It's all being infused with it. So whatever's in it is now infused with the counterfeit version.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane. Okay, there's Ventress, obviously. But I think that was just there's a reason why they're all scientists, of course. She's supposedly in the book. This is the psychologist, is on a suicide mission. They keep referring to it as a suicide mission all the time. She has cancer. In the book, it says she's got cancer and she's not intending to come back. So she knows she's going to die. This woman has lost her husband and she's lost her kids as well. And she's basically got no one to live for, supposedly. This girl cuts herself. I don't know if I could say that. We'll see. Depressive. And this girl is the medic, and she's the biologist, the lead actress. So they're all science-based, science-focused, but they are all. I still feel there's this like sort of like, I mean, this is mind, body, soul, something, which I'm still trying to figure that out. But there's this weird sort of connection with that. Why is it just them? Why those specific people?
And why five women?
Why five? Well, yeah, obviously it would lead us now to what's been going on these days with the feminine thing. I see they're going back onto the dark feminist thing, going back there again. They do these cycles. I mean, 4 or 5 years ago they did it. They're doing it again now. It's very
this is very interesting, because I think of archetypes of Yaldabaoth.
Yes.
Right? I think of the archetype nature of Yaldabaoth, which represents like depression, like psychopathy, like it's like they each represent a fractal of that demiurgic overlay that has been placed here, which is characterized by negative rejection, abandonment, longing for love, needing something to live for, hatred, you know, depression, rage, anger, like
psychologies of the human psyche and the nature of it. It does tend to make me think of the same sort of like idea or the ideologies that they're trying to portray these days. As we know, I don't think we need to go into that, but it is very much I mean, they would use this specific girl first. In the movie, she's the first one that actually gets injured first, and whatever grabs her, since she's the one that's the most saddest, I mean, she's the one that doesn't reveal much, whereas the other girls suppress their emotional states, which is very similar, which if I go back to what you're saying about the archetypes, it does make sense, because there's the one that always feels the most that gets hurt the first, always. Okay, so in the book, they have mentioned this very interesting part here. Well, in the book, there's mention that the group of women had been hypnotized by the psychologists so that they would be able to withstand the shimmer and be able to manage everything in the right way, according to the book. The exploration into the shimmer enters Area X. Historically, it's said that no one ever comes back who enters it, and the team biologist, okay, all them, okay, so that's it. That's basically it. So they were hypnotized. That's what I thought was interesting, which wasn't mentioned in the movie.
Very interesting.
Yes, indeed. And then obviously compass is not morality.
Well, let me ask this. Is not everyone here hypnotized to interface with this counterfeit version of reality?
Absolutely.
And this is a representation of actually this reality. This movie reflects this reality.
Exactly. This is why I thought it was such a good idea to discuss this movie. I've seen a lot of discussions of it, but they're all basically generic in certain way. And I've gone through most of them. There's like 6 versions of the discussions of it, and I think it's not been approached in the correct way.
Right. And so if you're hypnotized, you lose your compass, your original divine compass. Well,
absolutely.
As what is happening here, because it is.
Because then you would want to go and get yourself so that you would not want to become aware of anything else. I mean, that's something else. Look for, do that thing.
And that's a state of mind control, right? Mass mind control. And hypnosis.
Absolutely. Which is then obviously where and so it leads to the next scene. I mean, just as you noticed that the compass was spinning in circles, they thought that, well, they knew that that was going to be the end. There's no way of turning back. The funny thing I forgot to put in here was they were looking for the sun, where the sun was shining. And as they looked up in the sky, they just like established that's where the sun should be normally. And there's this haze of light. You don't really know where the sun is. It actually looked like there was one big luminous light above it, and I forgot to put it in. It's very interesting. It's in that movie. So the sun was like magnified, or there was another sun there. Obviously the consciousness would seek a sun or a type of that is hyper illuminated or hyper sigilized in a form that would make you feel that you are comforted by whatever religion, perhaps, or whatever it may be. That could even be the New Age religion, because it's so magnified.
Right. So the sun is lost inside the
Yeah.
reflection of
Yes.
of that hypnotic state where you can't
Yes.
find your own center.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's a reflection, right? Like it's what you
Yes.
see being reflected on a prism, obscuring reality so that you can't
Yes.
see.
Now, interesting you say that about the obscuring. It reminds me of that thing that John Dee apparently invented, something called the camera obscura, where you look through a cutout, or the sun shines through a cutout and is then projected through a lens onto the wall and turns the image upside down.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I'm thinking is happening.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking that in this movie, there's this obscuring of things, as you've mentioned, and there's an obscuring in the consciousness because it's all turned upside down to the base, to the root chakra, which then creates this obscured reality that we're existing in as we speak.
The
I mean, not
inversion.
all of us are living. Yes, it's the overlay with what we're in, but we are not as affected as they are, but we can see it, which is very interesting. It truly is like it's like pocket realities that we're all in.
And again, it's a representation of the fact that we are in an inverted reality.
Absolutely. Yes.
And that's why the
100%.
compass is spinning like uncontrollably.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, yeah, I just went into calling the scientists as a belief or religion because of the fact that they were really focused on the teeth of the crocodile, which if you really have to dig very deep, there's a picture of Manly P. Hall who writes a picture on a book, and I'll put it in, where Hermes Trismegistus stands on a white crocodile, which this makes me think that it's just yet another mimic or an explanation, as you say, of an inverted reality. It just leads to that.
The inverted reality always has a duplicate nature. Everything here is duplicated.
Yes.
Because the counterfeit reality has duplicated the original non-counterfeit reality.
Yeah.
So it's based on a duplication system.
Yeah.
A facsimile copy. Everything's copied.
Yeah, like a giant disco ball. God, memorable. So do you think that it's because, I'm just asking you now off the cuff, do you think that the reason it's become like this is because of the actual energy or the energetics from the people itself, or is this also worked on or enforced from outside?
I think this was always how the Demiurge created and the Yaldabaoth created reality here as a counterfeit version of the original. So I think the nature of this copy we're living in implies that there's another us that is real, but that we are living in the copied version, so that everything is actually based on duplication in one way or another and mimicry. Because it isn't the original.
No.
And so it is essentially the parasite mind here.
Yes.
It is the actual interface.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on, because I actually literally had a dream just a while ago where I was actually having the idea that it reminded me of something that I did feel that there was some sort of, that it was starting to lose its traction. And losing its traction would make it hyper loop or bunch things up even more. So we would, yeah. Because it's trying to not lose its power. That's what I was.
Well, and I think as the primes wake up and, really see through the illusory counterfeit duplication version of reality that's inverted, we become the glitch in the matrix.
That makes sense.
So we are what is, yeah, we are the anomaly, and we are what is actually taking this down.
Yes.
So it's very hard for this to sustain itself the more that we wake up.
Yeah.
We're breaking it down. We're like dismantling it.
Yeah. I actually believe that, very much so. Again, here's just an example of this thing that's just a copy of, and supposedly the other one. In the movie, they jump in symmetry or synchronicity. They jump at the same time. It's like
as above, so below, right? It's the mirror.
Yeah.
It's the mirror reality. Again, everything about this movie is showing you that there's like there's a mirror reality version going on here, and everything again is being mirrored. So it's all based on duplication. And you think of as above, so below, right?
Yeah.
The premise of like the ancient knowledge, as above, so below. So that's telling you this is a mirror reality.
Yeah.
So you're going to see a duplicate version, a mirror
and now
of itself.
It's obviously even more so now, even more disturbing or hyper disturbed.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it's bunching up, and because it's trying to save itself, and because everyone is waking up, or as you say, the primes are waking up. Yeah. It definitely is much related to the primes work, put it like that. This is coming towards the end of the parts that I thought was very interesting as well. I mean, this kind of tells it all, doesn't it? I mean, it's like so obvious. She started by, in the beginning of the movie, she actually had like this weird bruise on her arm. And she started to touch it all the time, sort of in the movie. And as it goes through, when she starts to become whatever that is, I mean, the ouroboros.
Well, that is like massive. This is a massive reveal in the movie.
You think?
So the deeper you go into the inverted reality, dimensional reality system, which is all counterfeited, right? Not original. The more that you go into the ouroboros, and the ouroboros is again that mirrored reality, as above, so below, two worlds mirroring one another.
Yeah.
But the ouroboros is a snake eating itself. It eats itself because it's not prime original. It eats itself because it's disconnected, so it has no option but to consume its own energy, which is based on a counterfeit artificial system.
Absolutely, which is why food is its focus. Food in terms of the consumerism society is now, they've got this big dark board, and they just choose, okay, today we're going to talk about eggs. All the eggs must be abolished. Okay, yesterday we spoke about chickens. All chickens must die. Tomorrow it's going to be all farmers must get killed, etc., etc., etc. type of thing. I'm saying it really fast so it doesn't pick me up. Basically, that is its issue. So if you present it all the time for it to do that, it would definitely start to do that. I mean, really, it's
it's a reality that will consume itself into non-existence because it's not connected to anything real. It's a counterfeit mirror version.
Correct. Yes. And those that are in that or within that reality, they're doing it.
Well, and that's why the more that she's in that reality, the more she is marked by it, like Cain.
Yes. So that is basically the part of the. So that's definitely, that makes a lot of sense. The shimmer and area X duplicates animals, and this just highlights with what you've just said about the mirroring, light and radio and magnetism. That's in the book. It affects the team's minds. It affects time. The team loses a few days at the start. So the area distorts, duplicates, merges, mutates, which is what people are doing these days. I mean, if they join groups or they look at all these hundreds of masses of emojis and shit that comes through their little devices, it's very similar
mutating
to that sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, because that's what the Nephilim do. That's what the fallen angelics do. They are masters of mutation. That's why
Yes.
their whole thing
They
is
can't
to
create.
invert. What
Yeah.
are they doing with this like sex stuff going on? They're inverting again, inverting
Yeah.
the original
Yeah.
template. They're always inverting and mutating and doing all these genetic, horrifying experiments to
Yeah.
invert the divine into something that is an inversion, just like you're in that inverted reality.
Yeah. Which is why it's so important, obviously, for our audience, or the people that are subscribed to us or that we're talking to, the people that we know, our friends and family, that we're able to remind them the whole time of, who they are, keep reminding them of becoming whole, not to become, not to have any loose ends in life,
not to allow the fallen angelics, which this agenda going on is all fallen angelic Nephilim agenda, not to allow them to mutate and invert you into an inversion. Because see, as a divine being,
yes,
you are a representative of what is not inverted, but you happen to be in the inversion. But if you allow them to mutate you and to create all these horrifying synthetic, artificial versions, which is what their MO is, then you cease to be that divine original.
Yeah, it is basically agreeing to the contract where you become subjected to whatever belief is being projected onto you by agreeing to that contract.
Yeah, and that contract is demonic, and it's all based on inversion.
Yes. Yeah.
Taking what's holy and making it unholy, taking what's holy and making it corrupt.
Yes, all the time. Doesn't matter what it is. They practically took every single thing that was in this movie and it was interfered with.
Yep.
Every single thing.
Yep.
Including the flowers that you would think are beautiful. They were mutated into some weird, gross, mass productive or produced thing that you don't know what the hell you're looking at, type of thing. So I've added some thoughts here. I've touched on the part about the aliens. Is it alien? It is alien it's alien to me when I see, people behaving in a very strange way is alien. That is the idea. So they would obviously play with that idea. They would play with the psyop stuff as well. I do know, I don't know if you would also probably have picked it up, is have you found that there's a lot of hyper information on extraterrestrials and UFO stuff? It's overloaded. It's like mass production. So much that you don't know what's real, what you used to sort of
well, and
experience was.
When you wrote here, it's alien to see how people behave. It's alien to see this. When you watch this movie, this is all, if you want to call it alien, but it is the infection. It is the parasitic infection that is growing.
Yeah.
Because they're inside this thing that is growing, but they're infected. So they have entered that inverted reality where this alien presence is changed how they relate to reality. But just like the parasite infects your mind in the inversion is what this movie is revealing.
Yeah.
That alien presence is that parasitic infector that has overlaid its reality onto how you're experiencing it, aka taken over your consciousness. So you're now interfacing with its version.
Which we know in the end happens to her. Because she has the struggle. They come to the lighthouse. This is the foundation of the lighthouse. This is where the thing hit it, that beam of light hit it on the side. And this thing burrowed a hole all the way inside to the foundation.
Do you know
basically sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Aurora.
No, that's it. That's basically what
No, you know what just occurred to me?
What?
Okay, it hit it on the side of the lighthouse.
Yeah.
Okay, now in the story of Adam and Eve apparently is created from one of the ribs of Adam from the side.
That is amazing. Wow, that makes sense. And also, do you remember Jesus was stabbed with a spear on the side as well?
Spear of destiny.
Yes. Oh my goodness, this is very interesting. Yeah, the tower. The tower is also, I know, the name, the tower means Magdalene as well. So it's feminine.
Oh, and but that's a representation of us. That's a representation.
Absolutely.
The tower is the human.
Yes. Yes. And look at that. Headless humans. So it's like, if you didn't know that this was human, there's an example for you. They're sitting there. Skeletons.
And the ladder, look at the ladder that goes out.
Oh, that's Jacob's ladder. DNA.
The staircase to heaven, right? Your spine. Like this is the door connected to the spine to the staircase of heaven. Right? This is all like symbolic of a body, a human that is divinely made and created with the door, with Jacob's ladder, which is the staircase to heaven.
Yep.
You know, and the different tiers, because the lighthouse has tiers.
Yeah.
So you can look at that as like, you know, your chakras.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. On the beach.
Well, the beach, the beach is representative of clay, that the human divine being is created from the clay of all that is. Like once it manifests from the dust, the matter, which is the clay of the body, which is what everything is created out of.
Yes. The matter, yes.
Yeah.
The primordial matter. And underneath, obviously, they go inside. Notice the psychologist goes in first, though. And here's this like black cavern, which looks very similar, like...
Looks like the mouth of the ouroboros.
It does. It does. It looks like something else, too, like a canal of like birthing canal, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because it is. It's birthing something completely. It's like walking through a portal.
Yeah. Doesn't this also remind you of Aliens?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you remember Sigourney Weaver going through the...
It reminds me of the mouth of a serpent.
Yes, like there's the teeth. There's that looks like a mouth. Yeah. Well spotted. Look at this weird shit. This just comes, this is there. This is whatever. This is whatever impression is made. It's like a constant movement of something that could be potential, which is exactly the ability of what they're doing. Is, I mean, if they present to you in white papers in the political arena, they send white papers out with ideas that they're going to basically do X, Y, and Z to you. And they've already written down the law, and it's just going to be a few days before the law is made real. Yeah. And so they have to, and so that's like, it's not even happened yet, but they're making you think that it's going to happen. So, and all of this weird shit's happening in your head because you're like thinking, oh my God, this is going to happen, but it's not happened yet. But your consent within just that fear moment allows it to start taking place.
Right, because nothing is fixed. So this is like an ether of creation, which can be anything.
Yeah.
So this goes into your subconscious, unconscious, your conscious, you know, it can be literally created into anything because there's nothing fixed. So, you know, what happens when she enters this vagina, okay, of birth? She goes into this creation state.
Yes. Now, interestingly enough, I know that Aleister Crowley wanted to replicate a universe by doing all kinds of horrific stuff, which I won't be going into. But it did have a lot to do with the type of birthing that would take place in a particular order. And not in a normal way, but in from behind.
Okay, be a little bit more specific.
I'm not going to.
Just try. Okay, so he wanted to create a copy of a copy of the inversion.
Homunculus. Huh?
Yep. He wanted to create a copy universe from the copy universe. Yes. But because it's inverted, he had to do it anally.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's hope it doesn't get flagged.
But that's because it's going into the staircase to heaven, and it's inverting it. And that's 100%. Why it had to be that way.
Yeah. Exactly. That's it. This is what I'm seeing.
Yeah. So, exactly.
Obviously, yeah. Okay. We kind of get like a whole guess now.
Well, go back to that other one. Go back to the picture above. Okay. That.
What's this one?
Yes. Yeah? Right? I think that's a loaded picture.
The black swan. This is the black swan that becomes, you know, the black swan.
You see like the canal.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it.
And that's like she's literally being birthed right now.
Yes. From behind.
From behind.
Yes. That is exactly what I was thinking. Yep. Because and then this is related to Crowley's crap.
That. That's literally.
Yeah, that's probably why toilet paper was such a big deal. Do you remember the big chaos with toilet paper in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Costco at like the moment that happened, and everyone except for me and this one man, everybody was fighting over like toilet paper. It was like this mad, crazy mind control that switch that they just hit the button.
Crazy.
And there's man and I were the only ones who just stood there watching everybody going like, what? But it was like they were taken over. Like a switch was flipped. And they just were drones and all, it was the craziest thing.
I know, we had the same weird thing that happened. The funniest thing, we actually had a feeling we wanted to go and do a shopping, and then suddenly just this weird feeling happened around us, made us feel dizzy. Wow. And these people were just like loading their trolleys with toilet paper. It was insane. It was crazy. Very crazy. Anyway, so there's her homunculus.
Yes.
Her copy. Which is also
her poopy copy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. She makes the agreement, I suppose. And then I've skipped all the parts where they have a tussle and the fight, but eventually she does. There's a part that I need to explain here, which I need to put in, I suppose. Is the way she tries to outwit this thing is by after they've had a big serious fight. Is she gave it a grenade and it blew itself up. So. But it had made a copy of her.
Well, but this is representative of the fact that they're doing the same thing by making copies of the original,
yes,
and they're making inverted copies of the original in hopes to destroy and delete the originals and maintain the copied inverted version, the new mutated fallen angelic Nephilim version.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like there's this the moment it happens, there's the agreement within the basic level of the existence, whether it was through fighting or agreement or whatever, but she in her thoughts had assumed that she had taken care of the problem. However, you don't know until you see in the last part, and they leave it extremely ambiguous. So you'd never really know. I suppose and so it starts to burn from that hole where it had hit. Coincidentally, that map, that marking on that side of the map, on the thing, that it's like a map. There's a picture.
That's a total map. Can you enlarge that?
Yeah, I know. I will. Let me see if I can. I'll find it for you and I'll enlarge it.
What have you figured out what continent that is?
Yes, it's Russia.
It's Russia.
Got the picture. Yeah.
Look at the tree of life beside it, by the way.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. The whole thing is...
No, beside it.
What, this?
On the right. Oh, no. Go to the right. Go to the right. Go to the right. No, go to the right.
I'm going to this.
That's the tree of life. And it's right beside Jacob's ladder.
Okay.
Literally. Okay, so you're seeing that the origin, the template is the tree of life, is not being burned. This is divine. What's being burned is the tower. The point of infection, the point of infection in us, if you will. Now, where the map is, that's interesting.
Well, it looks like Russia, and I need to find the picture quickly. If you could give me a second. Let me find it quickly. What I'll do is I'll actually send it to you.
These are great pictures.
Oh, thank you.
You did a great job.
It took a while. But definitely it was very, very much worth it.
So why Russia? Why the continent Russia?
So this is interesting because I'll send you the thing. Let me send it to you right now, actually.
Okay.
I'll send it to your phone.
Yep.
Okay, have a look at that.
I mean, this is like a fabulous picture, because the point of infection you could look at came from the side of the rib that was creating something that was duplicated and counterfeited, and it's right beside the divine template of the tree of life, which is not infected because it can't be infected, and that's why it's brilliant with like divine starlights in it.
It does make sense. I've sent you two pictures now.
Oh yeah, look at that.
So look at it. I don't want to put it on here. So, but I will put it on my website, and you've got the pictures now. You see that picture?
Yeah, just hang on. This is very interesting.
I turned it upside down so that it fits. Because that's weird. Unless I just
do you know what?
Quickly slide
I don't know. Is this kind of a... I'm not sure if that's... I'm not sure. I mean, that can also look like North America.
Yes. And also it could look like Pangea.
Well, yes.
It's got India and Africa in it as well.
Wow, that is very interesting.
Mm.
And the depiction, like, you've got like kind of weird pictures beside it. They look like they're not pictures, but when you look at it, there's something.
Yeah.
This is very, very, very interesting.
But this is
I
what
mean,
I did.
they're always putting in something, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not, that's why I'm saying the series is about script keepers. They are showing us by
yes.
showing us the script. See if I can put this in here. Oh no, I can't. I'll have to put it on my website, folks. You can look at it there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, this could basically represent anything. If you had to literally zoom in, you'd see quite a lot of other things going on there. But that picture, the picture that I've sent to you now you see, oh, I was brave enough and I did it.
Oh,
okay, here it is. That was just what I was thinking. But as I say, this is like a sort of an exploring thing.
But look at North America, above it, just above it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now look at that and look at this.
Yeah, it could be that as well. Yes. But don't you think that an actual image itself, with highlighting that as yellow, is weird?
Very weird. That's saying, like,
yeah,
that is very revealing. And now
that's what I'm saying.
We got to like figure out what it's saying.
Well, they're saying
like, I mean,
that, but obviously that means more than that. You just take the information that we've just discussed about this thingy.
Well, and also
else in it.
That looks like it's. What does that hole look like?
Well, it looks like it looks like a birth canal.
No, it looks like the other thing.
Or it looks like a starfish.
Huh? It looks like the sphincter.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but yes. I don't want to use those words on this thing.
Why? I don't think they can. I don't think they can do anything. No.
How are we gonna see them?
No, because we're doing this as an educational thing, and that's a part of the anatomy, so it's representative. That's
yeah, this is true. Yeah. Okay. So. So wait a minute. You know what I think is going on here? Okay? So I think this is like the switching of. If you used to have a country called Mother Russia, it's now Father Russia. It will become Father Russia. If it was Mother America or Father America, it'll become Mother America. I'm thinking it's switching polarity.
A changing of the guard.
Pretty much. This is why I'm thinking they're showing these things here. So at the same time, all the other continents that are around in the world or the plane is affected by the switching. Except if you are within your consciousness really strong. You'll be able to go through this without, you'll slide through the mirrors. Let's hope you don't get chopped up by the mirrors, but slide through that. The Resident Evil. Anyway.
Or is that represent, can it also be representative of like the initial infection and how it's taken over everything, and are they now doing a reinfection to create a new version? Is that what it's representing?
Well, in the end, when she comes out from there, she stands there between the two pillars, Joachim and Boaz, who are equal, masculine and feminine, they're equal, and she's in the middle as the star pillar on the Masonic tracing board, and she's in the shadow. So the star, which is the third eye, or the representation of the third eye, is now blackened out or in the shadow, while as the other polarities are now more prominent and equal, which is bizarre.
But that's also representative of the reality of as above, so below. The two reflecting one another in a mirror reality, and that is usually what this duplication, this is like a two reality interface, as above, so below.
Yes.
And then,
yeah,
you
and
know,
also equaling male and female to one another, which is
right.
that whole trans, right? Yeah. So yeah, we're looking at all of that stuff. I've given some ideas in the book, something very interesting. I know I'm thinking about what you said just now while I'm reading here. Area X in the book doesn't create anything. In the book, it says Area X does not create anything, but assimilates and mutates.
It can't create because it's a counterfeit mirror system. It's a counterfeit facsimile, copying, duplication. It can only duplicate. It can never be original, because it isn't original. It is a creation of the copy. So it can never create. It can only imitate.
Yes. There's a lot of people like that in the world. Copy artists.
Yes. Lots.
Simulacra.
We know about that.
We know lots. Simulacra as an ideology of subsets, ideals for people to live within, while simulacrum is the hyper reality of such events. Video game of copies within copies, people copying people. There we go. Copying media, media copying people, etc. And so in the book, I thought this was interesting. It's related to an alchemical processes, which is initiation. If you look in the book, as you go into the first page, it says, instead of writing chapter 1, it says initiation. Announces the introduction of Area X, and then next chapter, integration. The journey and integration with the environment to give up the self. And then the third chapter, which is immolation, or sacrifice of a mass. What's happening right now? And then dissolution, extinction of life, or annihilation.
What's happening now?
Yeah. Or what's making us also, or what's presented as it's presenting itself to happen that way, which then obviously thought leads to physical, to matter happening, as you say, as above, so below. Yes. So yeah, this has been pretty. It's been a very exciting summary of the work of the book.
A definite must see for people if they haven't seen it.
Yes,
because it is what it's telling you is the story of what's happening here and what's been happening here ever since, people have been trapped in the counterfeit version, in the inverted version. And this is its story. This is, revealing about the psyche that has been imprinted in consciousness here.
Yes. And that the consciousness that is developing is a mutating fungus mimicking type of consciousness, which is just another way of saying that the simulation, or the system overlay is what I'm calling it, is organically focused on you. It is individual, every person.
Because it wants to take what is divine and original and invert it and basically parasite it so that it is interfaced now as a new hybrid inverted creation. So it's always trying to take from the original, from the divine template. So the tree of life in this movie, which is all sparkly and beautiful, is the tree of life that cannot be corrupted because you are of divine origin.
Yeah.
So, what has to be burned is the false overlays that are basically blinding everyone to their original template and making them have a relationship with the interface of that inversion here, that parasite and inversion. That's what's being burned. So, it's all about taking from original. And that's why this reality has to collect algorithms from the original primes because it doesn't have creation. It can't create. It can only copy and mimic. So it must take and collect from what is original and then keep duplicating.
Absolutely. Anything that you feel? I actually think that we've summarized it pretty well. There's a lot of stuff in here, but we have a limited time. I think what we could take, is there anything that you feel that we could take with us from your experience?
Yeah, that you are divine, original, prime creation, and you are literally the origin of what is truly uninverted and divine. So you have to remember who you are, and you have to bring that here to be the glitch in the matrix and to bring this down.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
To disempower the structure here and the parasite and the demiurge, and to disempower the takeover of the psyche and the way that you interface. So you are the divine. You are the original prime.
Absolutely.
And you're in an inversion. You don't have to be of it. You can start really dismantling this, breaking through these dimensional veils that are hiding the nature of reality and your abilities.
I agree with that. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining me analyzing this movie. That was fun. I enjoyed it.
That was great.
I hope we can do it again.
It was, very, very telling.
Yeah.
Definitely absolutely. Watch the movie if you haven't, you guys.
Yeah. Let's hope we can do this again next time.
Yeah, we'll pick the next one. This has been fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.